Well, today was a very sad and exciting day, November 23rd, because today is not only the final chapter of Arcane, but also the finale itself of Arcane. There's going to be no Arcane anymore. And this is something that happened to me not too long ago when watching Attack on Titan. I spoiled everything about Attack on Titan that I saw it on screen. It was still satisfying, but for something that I was very passionate about years ago, which is League of Legends, not anymore. I hate that game. I hate everyone that plays it. I hate the developers. I hate pretty much everything that has to do with League of Legends, except Arcane. I feel like Arcane is one of the greatest pieces of art I've ever seen in my entire life. It is handled with so much care, and it's just you can tell that the people that created this made it with love, which is ironic because Riot Games was the one that worked on this. They used their characters and all that stuff, which is like if you look at the state of League of Legends and Valorant, how the fuck they pull this off? Needless to say, this is really one of the greatest series I've ever seen of all time. I think it's honestly up there in my top five, and my top five ain't even that depth. You can probably guess all of the five of them. Outside of me liking League of Legends characters per se, like I feel like every character in League of Legends has like a very unique look and lore to them, and I just like that universe itself. This was handled so well. I loved every second of this, and I really loved how you have kind of like different roads to the ending, right? You had the Echo, you had Jace, you had Vi, you had Caitlyn, you had Ambessa, you had Mel. There was a lot, and the fact that all of that worked, like all of that, just like you know, it was telling multiple stories at the same time, and it all ended together, which is something that not many people can pull off, and not many studios in general can pull off. In fact, some studios even fail to tell a tangent story, like like some very straightforward story, and they fail to do that. So imagine telling 4 or 5 stories at the same time. It's something very bizarre. And its rarity, I feel like if it just shines above pretty much anything else. One of my other favorite video game like adaptations or whatever you want to call it was Cyberpunk Edge Runners. And Cyberpunk Edge Runners had like this unique taste where nobody was ever safe. And I feel like I wish I had more of that because throughout the series, I was like, well, their main characters, they are champions at the end of the day, so they're probably never going to die. Like they're probably just going to get plot armored all the way through the entire series. And to a certain extent that's true. I feel like everyone is so there's so much death that could happen that never really happens, and without giving any spoilers away, I feel like it was still handled very well. I feel like everything just works to the T, and the little Easter eggs and teasers they show throughout the entirety of the series, especially towards the end of the series, hinting that it was obvious that the whole League of Legends Champions lore is going to continue being adapted. It's just going to tell different stories. It was very well. Of course, there's some open endings that I wish I got more closure on. Again, spoilers, so I can't really talk about them, but there's some very interesting things. There is one thing that happened at the end, which is again a teaser that I went, no fucking way, bro. Like I was hyped for that one. Like throughout the whole series, I was very sad and because it's a very heart touching series and stuff. But that was the hypiest moment. The fights were hype, but that for me was the hypiest moment. Seeing that character on screen. It wasn't truly on screen, but it was there, and I was like excited to see it. Unironically, because is one of my favorite characters in the entire game. But regardless of that, I loved it. I think this is one of the greatest animated series I've ever seen, not only because of the animation, but because of the performances and because of its ambience, its animation, and it's just everything, its story, everything. It's just quite literally flawless. Like I can't really you have to nitpick things in order to hate this series. Like I feel like even people that do not watch like anime or animation or stuff like that, they would probably enjoy this because this is just so well constructed. Everything about it. Its stories, its different multiple stories that it has. It's just that it's multiple stories in one story is something very unique, and something like at the end of the day you go like, why is there so many characters in this thing, and why am I following so many? And then once it all ends, you're like, clever. But shout out to my boy Echo. that's all I gotta say. If you haven't seen it, I'm just gonna shout him out. I always shit on Echo on solo queue when I play it, but man, if it wasn't for Echo, if it wasn't for Echo, I love Echo. We all gotta love Echo. I feel like we all should like we should all get together and play Echo for at least a week straight. Give that man some love. He needs it. He needs some love. We should get him some love. But anyways, giving this series, which again, I don't really review that many series, I know, but this is a special occasion because of how good this is. I'm going to give this a 9.6, 9.7, fuck it, 9.9 out of 10. I really fucking loved it. I fucking loved every second of this series, season 1 and season 2. I just think it's quite literally near flawless. Well, actually, yeah, quite literally near flawless, a 9.9 out of 10. Like I feel like this can adapt to any age, and you can just have fun watching this at any point. It has very good comedic timings, and has very sad moments, and has very hype moments. And if you're a fan or are aware of champions and some sort of League of Legends and stuff, you will find yourself even more hyped than people that's just casually watching the series. So yeah, it's just fantastic series. I cannot recommend it enough. And this, to me, I still haven't finished the Penguin, but to me, this is probably series of the year. Sorry, Shogun, but this is probably series of the year. I really just liked it that much. What can I say?